Hey. Welcome back to this channel, the place where we always uncover the most thrilling, most heartwarming, and most surprising stories from the world of K-pop. Today we have something incredibly special. Picture this, two people who are often called the gods of K-pop dance, meeting, interacting, and praising each other in ways that even make fans cry ugly tears in front of their screens. Yes, we're talking about Taemin from SHINee and Jimin from BTS. And today we're going to break it all down. What is their relationship actually like? What has Taemin said about Jimin behind the scenes? And why do their moments together always go viral and make fans from both sides fall completely silent before erupting in joy at the exact same time? Buckle up, because this is not your average video. This is a full deep dive into one of the most iconic friendships in the entire K-pop industry. Two legends, one friendship, one truth. Before we get into the good stuff, let's take a quick flashback. Because to truly understand why what Taemin said about Jimin hits so differently, you need to understand who these two men are and what they represent in this industry. Taemin, the man born on July 18, 1993, is no ordinary person. He debuted with SHINee in 2008, when he was just 14 years old. Think about that for a second. At an age when most of us were still figuring out what we wanted to be when we grew up, Taemin was already standing on a massive stage as part of one of the most legendary boy groups in Korean music history. Over the years, Taemin didn't just become a standout member of SHINee. He also dominated as a solo artist, with songs like Move, Guilty, and Press Your Number completely redefining how a male idol performs on stage. His movements are fluid, expressive, and carry a magnetic pull that is almost impossible to put into words. Fellow seniors, juniors, and top-tier artists alike all agree on one thing: Taemin is the standard. Then there's Jimin, the boy from Busan who joined BTS in 2013 as the very last trainee added to the lineup. From that uncertain beginning, Jimin transformed into one of the most beloved performers on the planet. With songs like Serendipity, Filter, Like Crazy, and his epic collaboration with Taeyong on Vibe, Jimin is not just a vocalist, not just a dancer. He is a complete artist in every single sense of the word. And here's the fascinating thing. Both of them share one massive defining trait: an obsession with perfection in the performing arts. Both are celebrated as the best dancers of their respective generations. Both are known as absolute perfectionists. And both, as it turns out, are incredibly close friends behind the glittering curtain of the K-pop industry. Now, how did this friendship even begin? Because that's a story that honestly feels like destiny. It all started with Timoteo, a former member of Hotshot who spent a long time as a trainee under SM Entertainment. Through that shared trainee experience, Timoteo grew very close to Taemin and Kai from EXO before any of them had even debuted. They shared the same dream, practiced in the same halls, and built each other up during the hardest years. Then the circle slowly expanded. Kai brought in Ravi from VXX. Ha Sungwoon joined the group, and it was Sungwoon who eventually introduced Jimin, after Sungwoon himself had first become friends with jhope and Suga from BTS during their mutual trainee days. So Jimin didn't enter this circle as a guest or a newcomer. He came in through a long thread of connection that had been weaving itself together for years. And the moment that made this whole thing truly iconic? Taemin bought all the members of the group matching padding jackets to cement their bond. That's where fans gave them the name that stuck forever, the Padding Friends. Taemin had actually always dreamed of having a crew with matching jackets and a shared logo. For that logo, he asked each member to take a photo of their hand making a peace sign, and that became their symbol. Not just colleagues in the same industry, not just friendly faces at award shows. This was a friendship built with intention, with warmth, and with matching outerwear. And inside that circle, the bond between Taemin and Jimin grew into something truly special. Now let's get to the heart of this video. The moments where Taemin openly and publicly showed just how much he admires Jimin, and why those moments sent the internet into absolute chaos. On the 9th episode of Ravi's Close-Up, Ravi's show on VIX's platform, Taemin appeared as a guest. Since both of them are members of the Padding Friends, Ravi asked Taemin to share what each person in their group meant to him. And when it came to Jimin, Taemin didn't hesitate for even a second. He said, and this is a direct translation, about Jimin, actually, he is a great dancing. Coming from Taemin, a man with over 12 years of experience as a professional artist at that point, this was not a throwaway compliment. He went on to express how impressed he was by how much Jimin had grown into his own as an artist, standing firmly on his own 2 feet despite only being 2 years younger. But the moment that really melted everyone's heart was when Taemin talked about watching Jimin succeed. He had known Jimin back when they were all still hustling and building their careers, and now he was watching him receive every bit of recognition he deserved. "He is so successful now," Taemin said, and the pride in his voice was that of an older brother watching his younger sibling conquer the world. That is not empty flattery. That is genuine admiration from someone who knew Jimin long before the rest of the world caught up. Then there was the live stream that went completely viral. During a broadcast, Taemin brought up Jimin as one of his truly good friends. He showered him with praise and said something that made every single person watching stop and rewind. In Korean, he expressed that Jimin is a good friend with incredibly positive energy, someone who is enormously talented, and that the style of dancing Jimin pursues and the kind of artist he strives to be shares a lot of similarities with Taemin himself. Let that sink in. Taemin, one of the most celebrated performers in the history of K-pop, looked at Jimin and said, "I see myself in you." For ARMY, this wasn't just a compliment. It was validation from one of the most respected artists in the industry that Jimin belongs at the very top. And for Taemin's fans, it proved what they always knew, that their idol is someone humble enough to genuinely celebrate another person's greatness without a single trace of competition. And it didn't stop there. When Taemin released his mini-album Want, he held a press conference and shared how his close friends reacted to the album. About Jimin specifically, Taemin proudly quoted him saying, "You are someone who really seems to know what you are doing." Taemin shared that in front of the media with visible pride. It tells you everything. That Taemin genuinely values Jimin's opinion, that Jimin's words carry real weight for him. This is mutual respect operating at the absolute highest level. But now, before you think this is all deep and serious, we absolutely have to talk about the side of their dynamic that is completely and utterly adorable. Because as it turns out, Jimin is one of Taemin's biggest fans, and he has never been shy about it. There's one legendary moment that lives rent-free in the head of every K-pop fan who witnessed it. During a panel show where Jimin was a guest judge, one of the panelists suggested that a masked performer on stage might be Taemin. Jimin immediately shut that down. With complete confidence, he declared, "Taemin dances way better than that." It was meant as the highest compliment, proof of how deeply Jimin understands and respects his senior's abilities. But Jimin quickly realized that he had also, accidentally, just insulted whoever was actually behind that mask. And then the performer revealed themselves. It was not Taemin. It was another Sunbae entirely. Jimin panicked. He buried his face in his hands. He crouched down to the floor, likely wishing the ground would swallow him whole. Of course, he immediately apologized. The whole thing was chaotic and hilarious and so deeply, painfully Jimin that fans replayed it 1,000 times. But underneath all that comedy, the message was crystal clear. Jimin places Taemin at the absolute highest standard. For Jimin, Taemin is not just a friend. He is the measuring stick for what greatness in K-pop dance looks like. Now let's talk about what happens when these two actually share a stage or a camera frame, because it is genuinely something else. At the 2017 Mama Awards, a fancam went viral showing Taemin, Kai, and Sungwoon reacting with pure excitement while watching their best friend Jimin perform on stage. 3 men from different groups, sitting together, cheering like regular fans for someone they love. It was warm and human and beautifully real in an industry that often feels polished and distant. Then in 2023, the K-pop world was treated to something special when Taemin and Jimin filmed a dance challenge together for SHINee's song Hard. The video of the two of them moving in sync, with that shared precision and almost impossible fluidity, went viral within hours. People immediately started calling them the two mins, playing on the shared syllable in Taemin and Jimin, and the hashtags exploded across every platform simultaneously. And when Jimin participated in Taemin's Guilty Challenge, fans from both fandoms collectively lost their minds watching two of the most expressive performers in the world inhabit the same choreography. It proved what everyone already suspected, that their artistic similarities are not just a talking point. They are real, they are deep, and they are visible every single time they exist in the same space. So what actually makes this friendship different from every other cross-group friendship in K-pop? Because there are plenty of idols who are friendly with each other, but this one consistently stands out. The answer is simple. It is completely, undeniably real. Taemin is the sunbae here. He debuted 5 years before Jimin, but that hierarchy has never become a wall between them. Instead, the difference in experience became a bridge. Taemin brings the wisdom and perspective of someone who has been in this industry longer, while Jimin brings energy, passion, and a fresh way of seeing things that clearly enriches Taemin in return. Taemin has even spoken about how his love for dance deepened through meeting Jimin, that their friendship added a new color to his artistic journey. And for Jimin, Taemin was someone he admired long before they ever became friends. Getting to know Taemin personally must have added an entirely new dimension to how Jimin sees himself as an artist. Kai, who is the closest mutual friend between the two of them, has spoken openly about the fact that Taemin and Jimin are the people he feels closest to within the Padding Friends group, and that the three of them have maintained a genuine and well-known bond for years. When three performers of that caliber, Taemin, Jimin, and Kai, all name each other as best friends, that is not a coincidence. That is artistic magnetism finding its equal. And here's why all of this matters beyond just being a feel-good story. In an industry that often pushes fandoms into rival corners, in a world that frequently teaches us to compete and compare and tear down, Taemin and Jimin chose something different. They chose to recognize, to admire, to celebrate the beauty they see in each other. And when Taemin openly praises Jimin, and when Jimin so clearly idolizes Taemin, they are quietly sending a message to every single fandom watching. There is nothing to fight about. Greatness can be appreciated together. For the younger generation of idols currently training in studios across Seoul, dreaming of the day they stand on a big stage, the story of Taemin and Jimin is a template. The best artists don't have to compete. They lift each other up. And now, the wish list that every ARMY and every Seoul shares without any debate. An official collaboration. Imagine a song, or better yet, a full performance stage, where Taemin and Jimin stand side by side and pour everything they have into a single moment. Two world-class performers. Two styles that are different, yet perfectly complementary. One stage that will be remembered for decades. With Jimin now fully active as a solo artist under Bigot Music, and Taemin continuing to create after completing his military service, the possibility has never felt more real than it does right now. And if it happens, the internet will genuinely crash within the first 24 hours. Before we close out today's video, there's one thing worth saying. In a world that so often asks us to compete, to be jealous, to diminish, Taemin and Jimin chose something else entirely. They chose to acknowledge, to admire, and to celebrate the greatness they see in one another. And maybe that is exactly what makes both of them as extraordinary as they are. Because a person who is big enough to genuinely recognize someone else's brilliance is someone who already knows their own worth. So to Taemin, thank you for always praising Jimin with sincerity. To Jimin, thank you for always showing the world that admiration is not weakness, it is strength. And to all of you watching, carry that spirit with you. Admire someone, praise someone, lift someone up. There is enough room in this world for all of us to shine together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss it when we drop the next K-pop story. And down in the comments, write one single word that you think describes the friendship between Taemin and Jimin. I am genuinely so curious what you all come up with. See you in the next one. Anyong, waving hand.